Welcome back to Game Talk from the Bench. I'm your host, Drew Barreto. Today I am here with my guest, James Barreto and Devon DeHaro. Today we're going to be covering our basketball game from Friday, February 7th, and we're going to be talking about Super Bowl reactions after the game. So first we'll get into the basketball game. Let me share my screen here real quick. Devon was player of the game. Devon, how does it feel to be a player of the game? You've been nominated for that a couple of times.
It feels pretty good. I mean, to me, it's like it shows that I did something. Like I was able to make an impact on the game and help us with our victory.
Yeah, you were crucial this game. I know I made a bet with you in that game, and I'm glad you showed up and showed out for us. So we won the game 64-35. Last time we played these guys, let's see if it's down below. Last time we played them, we lost by 2. Oh no, we lost by like 3 or 4. It came down to us trying to get a game-winning shot. We ended up turning the ball over, and then they got some free throws, and that was that. And this time we came out hot. We won. Can't see it here, but we won the first quarter. Was it 18-5?
18-5 after one. Yeah.
After one.
Yeah.
So Devin, I actually have footage of you straight out the gate. First play of the game. Take us through that, okay? So you're trying to run our 4-out offense, and normally you would stop, pick up the ball, hand off, but instead you continue and the open lay. So when you get to that point, what goes through your mind? Okay, am I stopping, handing this off, or do I just take this to the back myself? Like, what goes through your mind?
Well, initially, I remember when we played them the first time. We got some looks going to the basket coming off that handoff, and so when I caught that ball, I noticed that there was no help side on that block. So if you see in the clip, when I drive, there's no one there to help. By the time there is someone there, I'm already up and scoring, right?
Yeah.
I've done this before. I did this in a game previously where I kind of stop, pause, and then attack again. I did that one and it worked. I tried it again and it worked again. I almost got called for the hook because I kind of hooked my man a little bit around his back. The ref kind of told me, "I watch that hook. Next time I'll call it." So,
yeah, it's funny.
It's
funny you mentioned that hook because for me on the bench, I see it a lot on us and even on the teams we play against. A lot of hooking happens, but refs normally don't call it. It's something they will call in the NBA, but you don't see it called in high school. So that's cool that he actually brought it up to you, because normally refs don't even look at that at all.
Yeah, they don't.
Here's your next bug. I'm pretty sure it's just in transition. Just get an easy lay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you were off. I think you had what? How many points you have? You had 11 points in the first half?
Yeah, I think the first.
Yep, there's this 3. Yeah.
First quarter, you had
3 in the quarter.
Yeah. Not what?
Yeah, what helped us a lot defensively, we were pretty strong.
Yeah,
I agree. I was looking at my notes there, right? You started off with that 12-0 run, but something that you didn't see in other games was these active hands. These active hands were helping.
Yeah, we had
helping you get some turnovers, right?
We had total 10 steals and 7 blocks and throughout the whole game. 15 turnovers isn't lovely, but manageable. I had a lot of fouls though. We had 16 fouls, but yeah, we played really good defense. We had 36 rebounds, which is great. 28 defensive, 8 offensive. So we'll go back to your hold on. What happened to my? There you go. So you got a lot of good looking threes. That one, last time, never gonna game, you had a 3 just like that. And my dad James said, take the rhythm 3, and right there I remember on the bench thinking, I was like, ooh, he did not take that rhythm 3, but this time you got it to go.
That's right. Otherwise I was gonna mention it here again. So
yeah.
So So when you're so open like that, is it put a little more pressure on you, or is it just like this like a warm up shot?
Uh, I'd say a little bit more pressure because I'm normally, at least for high school, I feel like it's kind of hard to get that much space. I feel like it's kind of rare to get that much time to shoot a three like that. And when they do come, it's kind of unexpected, right? And it's almost like I have, again, like I said before, like almost too much time. And I kind of, think about it too much. But that one I didn't take as long as I did on the Evergreen game.
Yeah.
I feel like I took a pause, but it was more of a quicker pause. I think that's why I was able to hit that shot. But yeah, so there is a little for me. There is pressure for sure.
Yeah, I had a
So
couple
you
other
had
notes from that. I'm sorry, Drew. I had another couple
again.
notes from that first quarter, right? That we were, talking about. There was also some good play. I mean, you mentioned Devin. You had 11 points in that first quarter. That's a great start, right? But you also had some help from your teammates, right? I mean, you saw
Mhm.
some nice passing from Nate to Riley on the inside.
Yeah,
He
man.
also had he also had a nice pick and roll, right? They also got him a couple points in that first. So it was overall a good first quarter for the team as a whole, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Devin. I mean, you shot what? You shot 50% from the three that game. You went 2 for 3 from the line. Then you went 4 for 5 from 2-point shots. So you were very great shooting wise. But Nate is our point guard. He has to run the offense. So how much do you appreciate him? Bringing up the ball and running the offense.
Oh, it's a huge help for sure. I mean, he's one of our top scorers in each game. And he knows how to facilitate the ball. He's played the guard position pretty sure his whole life. So he has lots of experience with that. Um, and he knows the plays and stuff. And I think he knows how to play with confidence and composure a little bit. So he knows how to run that guard position pretty well. And yeah, it's a really huge help to the team for sure.
Yeah, he had 7 assists. Is a very good efficient night passing for him.
Hmm.
This is another one of your drives.
Was that the
Producing
one off the back?
backboard.
Was that? Yeah, that
That
was
was the
off the
one off the
backboard,
backboard right
right?
here.
Yeah, I see you using that a lot. So is that something you really think about trying to use throughout the game?
Yeah, I mean, I like to use the backboard because it makes everything easier in my opinion instead of just trying to get like a swish or something, or trying to get like a little rim it in.
Yeah.
But I feel like using the backboard is way more efficient, for sure, especially going up with a contact like that or transition. It just makes everything so much easier.
Hey, how were those rims at that game, man? It sounded like they
Yeah,
had a
like
few
right here.
screws loose.
Yeah, they were kind of interesting. The
I
bounce
guess.
wasn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't remember that. So
Yeah, the
Devin,
bounce wasn't
halftime
that bad. Sorry, go ahead.
halftime the score was 32-9, right? Up big.
Yeah.
You only give 9 points in the half. And then we get into the third quarter. I know the score at the end of the game doesn't show the whole game, but we get into the third quarter and it was pretty messy. It felt like
Yeah.
an AU game. It was turnovers left and right. It was just quick shots being thrown out, fast break, a lot of fouls. So what's
Yeah.
going on in your mind? Because you did get a three to start the half. I know you had this missed one, but I'm pretty sure you do hit one like a minute or two into the quarter, and then you kind of like I want to say you were silent, but you kind of like didn't get the ball at all. So what goes through your
Yeah.
mind when all this commotion's going around? And you're just kind of like quietly sitting there, you know?
Yeah, the third quarter was kind of scary. They started to kind of creep up on us a little bit. Um, turnovers is what killed us. They did knock down a couple threes. I'm not gonna lie. The third and fourth quarter, they did hit a couple threes. Um, got second chance points. I think they got a couple maybe.
Yeah.
Not too much, but they did get a couple. Um, But what I'm thinking is, I really hope we don't throw this lead because we've have been in situations like this before where we're up big and we just make careless mistakes and the other team does come back and make us pay for it. So I'm kind of hoping we don't lose this lead at all. And it was kind of hard. I didn't get the ball as much. It was kind of frustrating a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
but that's something
Yes.
that's kind of out of my control a little bit.
My notes for that third quarter was it was messy basketball on both sides of the court. It was, pressing down the court. It seemed like every other possession was a long pass down the court, trying to get a quick bucket or something like that. I mean, sometimes you just need to slow it down, kind
Yeah.
of, get back to the basics of what got you that lead, right? I mean, you ended the first half. It was 44-23, right? So, definitely, lost that quarter, right?
Yeah.
Overall, right? Granted, the game was still, pretty far in hand, right? It actually allowed, Drew, you were mentioning it earlier. You gave Devin a bet, and by the team's play in that first half, you actually got to get in.
I did get to get in at the end of the
Show
second
that box
quarter.
score.
I did get in. You see right here, I had a rebound and a turnover, so it was
Oh,
great. I almost had 2 assists. I almost had 2 assists, but it's right here. 5:12 left. Devin, you get a made 3-pointer, and we'll see when your
Oof.
next shot is after that. So knock that
That's
down.
not-
We're
that's
up
that
what
bounce. That's that.
26.
He had a good bounce on that one.
We're
oh,
up
yeah.
26 there, and then your next shot is until 5:30 in the fourth quarter. And the score is 52-26. So what's the jump right there? So we put up, let's see, put up 15. They put up 11.
Yeah.
So in that, what is that? That's 5. That's 8 minutes of not shooting the ball. Obviously, I think you probably touched it. But so
Well,
what do you do?
he was probably also on the bench, right? I mean, did you sit down much, Devin, during that game? I know coach was trying to rotate other players in and things like that, right?
I think what second quarter. I think towards the end of the second quarter, going into
Yeah,
half, I did sit.
I think you
Um,
played the whole third.
yeah, I played the third, and then
he started the fourth.
I sat for how many? Like what? Three? Like let's see.
You
I
sat
sat
the
the
like
fourth,
the
like the
last
last
two,
two,
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Yeah.
So in that 8 minute span of not shooting the ball, what goes through your head? You just say to yourself, I just gotta stay ready when I get it, gotta stay ready to shoot, gotta stay ready to attack, or is it just kind of one of those like, why am I not getting the ball?
A little bit of both. I mean, with the lead that we had, I wasn't really too frustrated with that. I mean, they were trying to do their best and score. So I wasn't really too frustrated with that. I wish I did get the ball a little bit more, so I could be ready to score because I kind of did have that mentality of just scoring more and more. So I knew how I did in the first half. Kind of wanted to do that again in the second. Um, I didn't get the ball as much, so I mean, and we had a decent lead, like I said, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
And right here, I believe this is the shot when I believe coach calls our
Ooh,
offensive play, and I
yeah,
called from the bench heat check, deep three, and I thought it almost went in, almost went in.
yeah.
So
I
what's
heard
in your
him.
mind right there when you shoot that shot?
Like right as I caught it, I was like, because I was creeping up to the top of the key, and I was like, I'm just gonna shoot it, just as a little heat check, right? And then right
Yeah, I
as I
mean,
catch
you
and
got
I
the
go up,
range.
yeah, and I shoot, like right as I shoot the ball, I hear our assistant coach, Coach Profit, call out a play. Right as he
It's
called, I
just,
let that one go, and I was like, oh man, I was like, oh no, and I didn't make it. Uh, but right away I looked right at him right away and said like it's my fault. Like it was my fault. But yeah, it was just a little heat check.
Oh, nice and one. You had a nice and one right there.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait. This is your dunk.
oh,
Ooh.
I didn't. Well, I wasn't. See,
almost,
this
almost.
is the first time.
Replay that. Replay that.
This is the first time I'm watching it. I was trying to look for it just to see if I was close or
Yeah.
not.
Let's see. I'll play it in slow mo.
Okay.
So it's in transition. You had the running room, and the defender was kind of on your hip a little. You had Nate for a wide open layup, but you said, "Nah, I'm trying to dunk this." You got up. You got up a little bit. You just kind of lost the ball when you got up there.
Maybe the
Yeah.
defender got there a little bit, kind of made you a little nervous or something. But yeah, you definitely broke away there, and you had that opportunity.
Yeah, I was like, I've always, I mean, I'm still trying to look for my first in-game dunk, and I was like, dude, it's the perfect chance. I was like, I gotta try it at least. Um, but I'm not really used to coming from that angle. I usually come from the left side when I try to. Even in practice and stuff, I always go from the left. I never really go from the middle or the right. So that was just a little different for me, for sure. But yeah, I wanted to try it just to see.
So is that a goal? Is that a goal before the end of the season? Get an end game. That is a goal. That would be a great. Go ahead, Drew.
We got 2 home games left. We know our rims are pretty forgiving. They're pretty loose, so I think you gotta hit one at home.
Yeah.
Hey, there's 2 big games. We got the Crosstown Rivals on Wednesday, and we got Senior Night on Friday. So I think if you hit one in one of those games, you're gonna get a large reaction from that crowd.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, both of those are gonna be packed gyms, right? So no pressure, Devin, but
I think even attempting one in those times, we'll just even get a large reaction.
Yes.
And I think after that dunk attempt, I think that's when Coach subs everyone out. You see me right there?
I think after that I get a block, and then
Oh yeah. Let's see. This the dunk again.
Yeah, I put that down in my notes. That was kind of a redemption there.
Yeah, I was.
There you go.
Snatched it. But no, you had a great. You were great on the offensive end, but even on the defensive end, you had 5 great rebounds. On the film, I would pull it up, but it's gonna be too much work for me. You had 5 great rebounds, just boxed out, and then you got that block and a steal. So you were great on both sides of the ball. You were a great two-way player in that game, which let us continue.
Yeah, so I gotta call out a couple of your other teammates, right? That came through in the in the game big. I think, right? I mean, if it wasn't for foul trouble, Riley, I thought had a really good game, right? But he got in foul trouble early. He had to sit on the bench, right? Newberg was possessed in that game, right? Look at his stat sheet, right? He had 7 points,
4
7 rebounds,
7 rebounds, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 3 blocks, 2 steals.
Yeah, so I had that in my notes. Newberg, Block City, right? He was going left to right there, right? It's just like, but I think it was good overall. I thought Newberg was the player of the fourth.
Yeah, he definitely did step up for sure.
Yeah,
just gave us the energy that we needed.
Yeah, so I wrote my notes, obviously before us doing this podcast and things like that. And, I said Newberg was the 6th man. And, Devin, I did call you out for the player of the game as well. So I'm glad that, Coach agreed with kind of that my overall assessment as well. But glad to see a W, especially in that kind of fashion where you're not trying to worry too much about it and bring one home.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so after back-to-back losses, tough losses, we get a big win. 2 more games left. We are tied 2nd place in league.
We are.
Coach told us that after the game. And then we're 2 games behind 500 on the year. We're 9-12. We're 4-4 in league. Mm-hmm. So if we win these last 2, we'll be 500 total, and then we'll be 2 games above 500 in league. So definitely looking forward to those 2 games. This is probably half an hour to maybe an hour after the Super Bowl. Eagles win 40-22. Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl MVP. We're gonna break it down. First half. Eagles, Chiefs win the coin toss. They defer. Philadelphia comes out, starts off with the ball, and fourth down, they're already going for it. They're strong. They're confident. We're going for the 4th down. They get the 29-yard completion to A.J. Brown. It's called back on a controversial offensive pass interference.
Yeah.
James, what did you think when you saw that call? Because I remember watching it live with you. You thought it was defensive pass interference.
I didn't see an offensive, anything on the offensive side. I was just I couldn't believe that call. I couldn't believe that they called that. And then they do obviously the the replays and things like that. And I think the refs could have easily swallowed that whistle.
Yeah, they definitely could have. I mean, watching the replay, they a little hand-to-hand shoving, but it wasn't. excessive enough for them to call it. And then obviously the Philadelphia punts. Chiefs, they don't go 3-and-out, but they get a first down, first play, and then they go 3-and-out. And then they give it back to Philadelphia. Philadelphia, I believe, is on a third and long, and they get that penalty back. They get a unnecessary roughness on Kansas City, which gives them first down to 15 yards. And watching that replay, looked like wasn't much was done, but it looks like the refs had to repay for that last call. Philly then goes on to get the ball to the 1 yard line, and of course the brotherly shove gets Jalen Hurts in, and then after that it was just complete domination.
Yeah, I actually took a picture of that first half stats that they showed up on the screen before kind of jumping over. 23 total yards by the Kansas City Chiefs in that first half. 1 first down on 10 minutes of possession. That was pure domination by Philadelphia, right? And they, Hurts had a turnover, right, in that first half, but the defense played well. I think Jalen Hurts mentioned it at the end of the game. Defense wins championships, right? And they were getting to Mahomes, and they were putting a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, he did. Hurts did throw that interception. I didn't think at the time it wasn't the worst. Still, I think it was third down. They're taking a shot at the end zone. A little underthrown, but they pick it off at like the 4. And then that defense, man, they were at it. I said in our first episode of the podcast, I believe those young guys got to step up, and they surely did. I mean, Jalen Carter played great. Cooper DeJean got a pick 6. Josh Sweat had 2.5 sacks, like 8 tackles. That defense was unstoppable. It reminded me of in 2020. This game reminded me of 2020 when the Chiefs played Tampa Bay. Pure dominance from the Eagles, just like when Tampa Bay dominated them in 2020. Second half, like I said, dominance. That's what, 24-0 heading into halftime?
Yeah, 24-0 at half. Yeah.
Chiefs just couldn't do anything. They couldn't move the ball. Mahomes was pressured, I believe, on like 56% of his dropbacks. And he was just getting sacked left and right. They were not making any positive plays. And credit to the Chiefs defense. They were able to slow down and stop Saquon Barkley. I mean, I believe he had maybe 50, 60 rushing yards the whole game. He had about 40 receiving yards. They did their job in stopping him. But they couldn't stop Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, they didn't let him take over the game, right, with his rushing, right? I mean, they were definitely kept trying to feed him the ball, but he definitely had an impact, right? I mean, with those receiving yards that he had and the rushing yards, I mean, he still had what 80 something combined yards, right? So he still had a pretty good game, but not what we were used to seeing, based on the past couple games from him.
Yeah, also no touchdowns from him. But Jalen Hurts took over the game. I mean, he was able to pass the ball, use his legs when needed to, and just dominated that first half. Devin, what are your thoughts on that first half of the game? Because I know you watched at least the first half.
Yeah, I watched at least the first half. The first half was, I'm not gonna lie, I had Kansas City winning this game. I'm not gonna lie. Before going in, I didn't want them to win. Me personally, I didn't want them to win, but I just had a feeling that they were gonna win. That obviously didn't happen. The opening of the game, I mean, let's see, Kansas City, got stopped. They had a, change of possession there. The Philadelphia, I mean, like you said, I mean, dominating. I mean, they were just really good both offensively and defensively. What I did notice, Jalen Hurts ran that ball quite a lot from what I saw. He ran more than I usually seen before.
Yeah, they were running specialized. They were running running plays for him. They had him running like on QB powers, and then he scrambled when he needed to.
Yeah, he had 72 total yards on 11 carries, plus the touchdown. I mean, he was looking and he was taking advantage of it, right? I mean, normally you see Mahomes kind of doing that, but he had only he had 25 yards, right? But falling behind so far, they couldn't run the ball. They needed to just keep passing to try to catch up, right?
All right, so now into the halftime show. We all know Kendrick Lamar performed. Devin, are you a big Kendrick Lamar fan?
I am. I'm not gonna lie. I do like his music. Like the people he features with on there. I like his music overall. It was the performance. Oh man, I was waiting for that. And I liked it. I'm not gonna lie. He had a couple guest stars. You had SZA there. You had Mustard. Uh, did I see Serena Williams? I'm not gonna lie. That was Serena
Yes,
Williams, right?
you did.
I
Yes,
wasn't
that was
expecting
Serena.
that.
That
That was
was Serena
weird.
Williams.
That was
Was
weird.
And
Just
he
to kind
had
of a little quick cutaway to her, right? And dancing
Yeah.
on the out there, but yeah,
Mhm.
no.
yeah,
No,
and
I
he
thought it was
also
pretty
had
good as well. Yeah.
yeah, he also had Samuel L. Jackson out there like almost like directing it. He was like saying some stuff.
Yeah, he did. I do like that part. That was pretty cool too.
So do you wish he had played different songs? Do you like the songs that he came out with? Because they're mostly some of his newer songs from like 2018 and to now.
Uh, um, Actually, the songs he did play, actually, I liked all of them for the most part. Uh, I saw something on TikTok where someone was making a prediction like what he would do as far as a transition in his performance. Where they play the intro of All the Stars, right? And he ended up playing that song, and
Yeah.
then they were like where the lights would turn off and they'd turn back on, and he'd have Baby Keem start Family Ties.
Yes, I totally forgot about that song, Family Ties.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
thought, and I was
it's
like, oh
funny.
man, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny because you see, like you said on social media, you see all the people guessing what is his first song when he comes
Yeah.
out. And even before the game, I was with just my family and the friends here, and we're asking each other what's the first song he plays. And for me, I said Money Trees.
Okay.
And but he comes out with like this just freestyle, and
Yeah,
then
he
he gets
does.
to his music. So I was like surprised. I was like, oh, he didn't come out with the song. He came out with a little bit of his own freestyle. So that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. I know a bunch of people. It was like 50-50 on the performance. They liked it, but some people wish he played some older music. I thought it was nice. I thought
Yeah.
it was nice, simple, good. The music everyone knew. He played Humble. He played Squabble
Hmm.
Up. Um,
And he did play Not Like Us too. And I was really
and
waiting for. He teased us again in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, he did tease us. I thought, I was like,
yeah,
oh man,
he
he
played
would do
like
it.
it
Yeah.
in the beginning, and then
There was no way he was not going to perform that song, right? I mean, after coming off
Yeah.
his big night at the Grammys and things like that, there was no way that was not going to be part of the performance. Um, so I mean, even for someone that doesn't follow him as closely, I thought it was pretty good, right? Overall,
Yeah.
the way he was going through the different songs and his transitions and things like that, and he went through quite a bit. So I thought it was it wasn't as much flash as some of the other performers, right?
Yeah.
That have happened in the Super Bowl over the years, right? But it was I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a cool little performance.
yeah. Okay, now we're gonna get into the second half. So I remember thinking, halftime it's 24-0, right? It's only a three-score game. If the Chiefs scored 2-point conversion, score 2-point conversion. And I remember coming out of the half, I was like, if I was the Philadelphia Eagles, I would try to make Kansas City blow as much clock as possible, and then blow as much clock as possible when I'm on offense. But coming out of the half, I think they had like a quick 2-minute drive that ended up in a punt, and then Philadelphia has a long, I believe, like 6-minute drive that ends in a field goal. And then
Yep.
kind of same thing again, 2-minute drive for the Chiefs. They turn it over, and then what's it called? I think was it the deep shot
Mhm.
to Devontae Smith.
Oh yeah, that was kind of to me that was a dagger, right? 46-yard pass to Devonta Smith, right? I mean that to me that put the game at 34-0, right? I mean at that it's like all right, bring the guys off the bench. No,
Yeah.
right? It's granted, there were a number of different scores in the second half by the Chiefs, but I mean it was
It was garbage. It was garbage time points. That's
it
what it was.
was. It was. I mean,
I mean,
if you look at the overall stats, you're going to say, oh, Mahomes had more yards and things like that,
well, he
but
had
that
two
was
deep
all.
touchdown passes. He threw like two 50-yard touchdown passes. Yeah, they put up 20 points, but those were garbage points. If anything, they had 6 real points.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Um,
Xavier Worthy was his favorite target. D Hop, man, he still has it. Those his hands, those catches that he was making in that second half,
Yeah,
they
he had
just
a gr-
needed it earlier.
he had a big drop in the first half, big wide
Yeah.
open drop. But no, he did. He still has a strong hands. He showed it twice back to back on a touchdown and the 2 point conversion. Um, but yeah, in that fourth quarter was just Chiefs garbage time touchdowns and then Philadelphia Eagles field goals. And yeah, it was complete domination. And of course, after the game they announced the MVP, and it's Jalen Hurts, man. After 2 years ago when he was runner up for MVP, lost that game to the Chiefs by 3, and then he comes back and beats them by 18. I mean, it's got to be a great feeling for him. It's got to be great. He's got that Super Bowl on his resume now. Like I said, all those doubters on him, and now he's a champ. So
Yeah.
James, what do you think that does for his legacy, for his status as one of the top quarterbacks?
It's I thought he was a good quarterback coming in, right? I mean, he's and this is definitely kind of shows he wanted to quiet his critics and things, and that's what he did, right? That's what he did. He came out and really controlled the game overall. I thought his passes were dead on. He was running at the right time. He truly was the commander of this game.
Yeah, he definitely took over when they needed him to, because he was that best. He was the best player in that Super Bowl 2 years ago. And it's almost ironic. 2 years ago, I would say his defense lost him that game. His defense was one of the top 5, top 10 defenses in the league 2 years ago, and they just didn't show up in the biggest game. And this year, they did. They showed up. They showed out, and it was the big reason they won this game. They had two picks, pick six, like 6, 7 sacks. I mean, that defense was huge. But Jalen Hurts, I said in my last episode, I'll play the clip right here. I said if he had 3 touchdowns and maybe like 400 yards, he would win the MVP. And
Are you playing it, Drew?
yeah, can you not hear
Oh,
it?
I can't hear it.
Oh, can you
Well,
actually
what's
not?
no, I cannot hear it. But anyway, we'll tell all the listeners listen to episode 1 to, at the 42-minute mark to go ahead and hear our predictions going into the game. But Drew called it. I mean, he thought that if Barkley did not have a breakout game, and Hurts had commanding game, he was going to get that MVP, and he did walk away with that hardware.
Yeah, but I mean, even though Saquon didn't have the best of the games, you still got to give him credit. I mean, like I said, he carried this team to the Super Bowl offensively. He was one of the big reasons, and I mean, he still was a big factor in this game. I mean, the Chiefs were more worried about him breaking out for a long run than Jalen Hurts throwing an absolute bomb. I mean, you saw it on that touchdown. They're thinking, okay, they're about to run this ball because they're about to run this clock. But no, first play goes deep to Devontae Smith, then touchdown. I mean, Jalen Hurts deserved an MVP, deserved the Super Bowl win. I thought he deserved it 2 years ago, but they didn't get it. But
Yeah.
glad he won it.
Do you think there was anyone else that was in the running for the MVP?
Um, I'd say Josh Sweat or even
Yeah,
Cooper DeJean. Josh Sweat, great big game from him. 2.5 sacks. I don't have the tackles on me, but he had at least 6 tackles. I mean, he was dominant on that edge tonight. He
yeah, no
got to
that
Mahomes a lot.
yeah, no that was pretty good call, Drew. Pretty good memory. Yeah, he did have 6 tackles, 2 of those solo. With his 2.5 sacks, and I think he had some opportunities to actually get a couple more under his belt the way, but yeah,
Yeah,
Cooper DeJean. Well, he did have that big touchdown for
big.
run with 38 yards on his 22nd birthday.
Yeah, birthday of the day. It was his first interception, and he took it
First,
back for 6 in the biggest game of his life. And he
yeah,
showed up. I mean, I thought if he got another pick, I was like, shoot, he might get it. But,
yeah,
he only had the one. It was so crucial, though, because the game was only 10-0 at the time. And that was big. But Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl MVP. Philadelphia wins 40-22. thank you all for tuning in to Game Talk from the Bench with the Drew. I want to thank my guests, Devin and James, for being here with me. And until then, stay ready.